Hello everyone, I am Latoya Chambliss. I reside in Atlanta, Georgia, and one of my really good friends has this assignment, and she knew that I was an advocate for depression and overcoming depression, so I'm going to answer a few of her questions. So the first question is, what is your definition of depression? Depression is a lot of different things. I would just say it's a state for me of complete darkness, complete sadness. So, question number 2, have you ever experienced depression? If so, what has been your experience with depression? Two-parter. Yes, I have suffered, experienced depression in my past. I've battled with depression over the years. I'm 30 years old. So specifically during college is when I really figured out that I was depressed, as well as a few years ago. The two things that had me very depressed, specifically, the first thing was me dealing with abandonment issues from my father. I would say it hit me around the age of like 21, 22, and everything really just consumed me. I think it was a buildup of everything that I tried to fight with that issue with my dad. It just hit me all at once. I was growing up and I realized that so many things were a direct cause of me dealing with these issues, or in a father in the home and things like that. I was starting to take on bad habits in relationships, just a lot of different things. But when it hit me like a ton of bricks. I remember specifically one night I sat with my mother and I was just laying on the couch, and I just remember feeling this moment of just complete sadness. It was just bad, and I sat with my mom, and she knew something wasn't right, and I just wailed. I cried. I just cried so bad, and all I remember saying is, why doesn't he want me? Why? What's wrong with me? Why is he, because at one point my father, we would be in the same room and he would speak to everyone except me. So it was very hurtful. So me bottling up those emotions and then putting on the front as if I did not care. I think that was another thing. I wasn't living in my truth. I was very hurt by this, but sometimes we are taught in our homes to mask things and go on with our lives, and especially black women specifically, we are supposed to be so strong and so this and so that, and so I'm taking on those things, but I'm hurting. And I just told him, why doesn't he want me? And we just sat and talked for hours, and I realized it was the start of me like going down and having this depression. It affected my schooling. It was days where I could not, I didn't want to get out the bed. I didn't want to participate in school. I would skip classes, which made my grades suffer. I remember even sitting out for a semester, and I was in a slump. I was just very sad. So that was an instance. Another instance, and I'm trying to keep this as short as possible, but the one that really was significant was the time that it was 2014. I remember this because this is when I actually had to get a therapist. And I remember going around for so many months, knowing that I was not happy. I was not happy of the fact that I got this degree. I did not get a job right out of college. So opportunities were very limited in the city that I was in. Even though I did take on and I made opportunities for myself, it was just bad. I picked up a job, a full-time job at a private college, and when I tell you guys, for 2 years I was just not myself. I was a walking zombie. I was depressed, and I got diagnosed as well, and I had to see a therapist for a while, which was great. But this was a time in my life where it was just bad. I was in an unhealthy situation. Not only that, I was just not in the place that I wanted to be. Yes, I was making money, but I was not happy. I was not at peace. And for me, I am that person who, the money, it doesn't make me happy. My environment and doing what I have a passion for and a gift for, that makes me the happiest. But I had to change my thinking with that. But I was in a bad funk. I remember it for 2 years. Like, I did not like to get out of the bed. I did not like to I didn't want to brush my hair. I didn't want to get up to even go use the restroom. I remember purchasing blackout curtains because I didn't want to see outside. I didn't want to see the light. I didn't want to see it. I wanted to be in a dark room, in a dark funk. I would sleep in as late as I could, just sitting in the bed, my mind racing, but thinking nothing but negative thoughts, sad thoughts. I would cry. I would take my lunch breaks, sit in the car and just cry, like pulling over. I remember I would go to a Publix parking lot, park in the back with the employees. I would call one of my friends and just boo-hoo on the phone, like, I don't want to be here. I would talk to my family members and I would just let them know how sad I was feeling and how worthless I was feeling, and the thoughts that were going through my head. I just was not happy with where I was. I remember my sister used to come to my room and try to force me to get out of my apartment, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to think and be happy. I would go out and do things occasionally and I would be in a funk inside. I don't know if you guys know how heartbreak feels, but depression feels 10 times worse to me. Depression feels 10 times worse. Like, inside, like, it hurts. And my heart hurts, and it's something in the pit of my stomach just eating at me and just making me feel like a complete waste. And mentally, your thoughts are everywhere. You don't want to live. You don't want to go on. You don't want to, do regular things. I was a nasty person. I had an attitude with people closest around me, treating them, talking to them crazy, and I just was a nasty person, and I was not happy. I didn't sleep well. At night, I slept through the day, but at night I didn't sleep. I had just really, really bad thoughts. So those 2 years were some of the saddest times in my life. Yeah. Question number 3, how did I overcome depression? That's a good question. I would say a few ways. I had to get a therapist. I remember going to my primary care doctor and I said, I'm not okay. Oh my gosh. It gets a little emotional. Not because, just seeing where I was, it makes me happy that I am in the place that I am at now. But I remember going to the doctor and I was like, I'm not okay. And he said, have you thought about killing yourself? And I said, no, I didn't get to thinking that far, but I had some pretty dark thoughts, and I just said I'm not okay. I have issues with my father. I have issues with myself, issues with just things, and I need help. So he referred me to an awesome therapist. Love her. And from the first day that I went, it was a relief. Like, I think it's important to know, like, it is okay to get therapy. It is okay to talk to your family about how you feel, your thoughts, and what those things are that trigger you. So it's good to let those people around you know those things. But therapy was a jewel for me. I am so thankful that I went to therapy and I spoke to someone. She helped me with a lot of things dealing with my father and just building me up and just making sure that I had the correct thoughts. So it was great. I recommend anyone to seek therapy. Let's see what else. Time heals everything as well. I also had to, get myself together mentally. Going through depression, there was always something here and here that just, even though I was feeling hopelessness and just sadness, it was something in me saying, fight. Like, in my ear, fight, Toya. And I am a fighter. And I'm just grateful to have that voice. Like, my voice as a woman and my intuition, everything is so important to me. And sometimes you just have to cut everything off and listen to yourself. And it was saying fight. And I fought very hard. I had to take control of my life again, change my thought process, make my life what I wanted it to be. And be grateful for where I was, even though I was grateful for the things that was going on at that time. And that was one of my cries. I'm like, I don't want to seem ungrateful, but, I do feel this way. And I think it's important to know, hey, it's okay to feel that way. But don't let that consume your thoughts, consume you, and change your thinking. So I had to learn how to do that. Learning how to unlearn things and learning how to think positively it's an everyday battle for me, just because everyone in my family isn't the most positive, but with me, I've taught them to be more positive, and in turn it has taught me, because sometimes we take on those things whether we subconsciously, whether we think so or not. But that definitely helped. Just having someone to talk to is another way that I overcame, whether that's a best friend or a trusted coworker or a family member. Having those people is very important, because you don't want to just have everything bottled up inside. It's okay to release. And when you release and you feel what you feel, it's good to say, hey, how can I move forward? But simply having somebody, that was another thing. Also, I would say speaking to others that have similar situations. We, as humans, we all suffer from things. And many times it's the same things in life. So, I think it's important to shed light on those things, because I have not only dealt with depression, but I know others that have. And it impacts us in different ways. And 2 people that I do personally know ended their lives, and a few others tried. So I think it's also important to know how to cut that off, so you can be there for somebody and support them, but not take it on. Because sometimes we take on other issues from other. Sometimes we take on issues of others, and it makes us even more depressed. So we have to learn to, separate those things. We are in the age of social media. I have a love-hate relationship with it, but bringing awareness to these issues is very important. Seeing others go through not even go through them, but talk about their experiences and tell their truth about depression, how they overcame, and, share specific instances. I think that is one of the best ways to enlighten people with how to support others going through depression, as well as just bring light to something that is so serious, something that people deal with each and every day, so that people can be way more sensitive to others. It's so much bullying going on, so much hate. It's sickening, and I think we definitely need to bring more light to the situation. I would also say maybe implement these courses in high schools and colleges. I know in college you get a way more a better understanding on, a more intellectual level. It's higher learning. So I think it's important to even introduce these things in high school, because this is, at the rate we're going, so many young kids are starting to commit suicide because of depression and because of things, because they don't have anyone to talk to. And guidance counselors, I give them credit, but I would also say it's so important to have these safe places that kids can, go and talk to people that they have built relationships with and trust. So just implementing those things in the schools. 5, what are some ways to promote mental wellness within yourself? I would definitely say I take me time. It's important to get me together, get my thoughts together, get my mental together, self-care, make myself feel good. I try every day to start my day with positive affirmations that I repeat. And I try to look in the mirror and look at myself, so that every day I say this, I start to believe it, and things, ultimately will manifest. So that's definitely a way that I promote mental wellness within myself. I also continue the conversation. I am not afraid to speak on my journey and to give specific details. I pride myself on mentoring young women who, they don't even have to go through the same thing, but I just want them to be aware of the things that they could run into, and this is, a way that they can deal with it, because I don't want, every lesson doesn't have to be learned the hard way, so I don't want them to have to go down that route if they don't have to. I would also say speaking to my family and friends, that's another way to help promote it, because speaking about these things, it makes it real, and showing people how I need the love and support is very important, because I can't do it alone. So my support system is important to me. So if they may not even understand, but I want to educate them on these things and show them how to love and support me moving forward, so that I know that I can depend on them for that. And also understanding that everybody won't be able to do that the way I need to, and it's okay. But I just need to have people that understand and can support me. Another way, a lot of times I unplug from social media. Even though it's a big part of my job, I take my time to unplug and get away from the negativity, because it can be so draining if you let it. Just taking a break from that, sitting outside, enjoying nature, enjoying life, and just, being grateful for what I have, and, just praising God. Like I'm so happy where I have come with depression, and sometimes I have bouts with it, because I have different triggers, from the seasons changing to different memories, songs, just anything. But being more in control of my life and my spirit and my mental, it really helps. Another way is I built more mental tenacity, and another I really like to work out. I go twice a day in the morning, twice a week in the mornings, and it really helps me to, crush different goals, because I do weight training, and that makes me feel like I can take on the world. And even if I feel, sadness or something, I can overcome it, because if I can sit up and lift these, big weights that's the size of my body, I can lift anything, and I can lift it off of me and take those burdens off. So those are the ways that I help to promote mental wellness within myself. Thank you, Brittany, for the opportunity to share my story, and I hope that this helps someone